Alright, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 2 and the whole season in general. I know this video is coming kind of late. Season 4 Volume 2 dropped on Friday. I was on vacation for 4th of July weekend, so I didn't get to see it until Tuesday last night. And I really wanted to sit with the season and the last two episodes overnight to really see how I felt about everything in general. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to like it and comment down below what you guys think of Stranger Things, because like I said, the whole weekend I was away, so I didn't even look at my phone pretty much once. Honestly, I was just so busy the whole weekend, having fun, doing my thing, that the phone wasn't really on my mind. So all that times when something new comes out, I pretty much watch it quickly, and I get to see the receptiveness of it right away, and I get to know how everyone's feeling, and I get a general sense of like what this product is in terms of what the general audience feels about it, in terms of if they liked it, if they thought it was messy. I'm thinking about the Kenobi series or other shows like Miss Marvel. I sort of have a general feel about what most people think about the show. I haven't seen anything about what people think about Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 2. Volume 1, I think it was mostly beloved. A lot of people liked it. Obviously, it has its problems like everything. But in terms of Volume 2, I don't really know what a lot of people think about it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. But here's my quick thoughts on the show. The last two episodes are on my mind most. I just want to talk about those quickly and then talk about the season in general, give you guys my rating, and that will be it. So the first thing we'll talk about these last two episodes is obviously the runtime. It's super long. I think it's pretty much unprecedented in terms of television, this runtime. I've never seen an episode that's 2 hours and 20 minutes long, let alone, what was it, an hour and 20 something, the first episode. So that's a lot of runtime. That's a lot of time just sitting down watching. I did watch them both back to back, just binged them all, and I have to say it didn't bother me once at all. I didn't really feel the runtime. At the end of the second episode, I did actually, there was like 40 minutes of just reunions and, catching up and all this stuff. It felt like very like a cliche reunion feel the last 40 minutes, but it was also sort of nice because we've been waiting for that moment for the whole season. So although I did feel the runtime there, I did enjoy it still. But I have to say, this felt like an epic movie feel, these last two episodes, and that's something that I really enjoyed from it. The first episode did a great job of creating this calm before the storm feel. We had to really get everyone into their own place, create the phases. While that's going on, we have the whole Hopper and Nancy thing where they're in Russia. They have to get Hopper out, then they have to escape. And this is where I would say the aspect of this season was the weakest for me, everything with the Russia and the Hopper stuff. Towards the back end, I actually liked it a lot. The way that they were talking with like the Russians and having to go fight the Demodogs and the Demogorgons and Hopper's epic fight with the sword at the very end. I loved all that. I would say like in the beginning of the season with the Russia things and Hopper being stuck there and Nancy and the Russian guy having to go get him. Not my favorite aspects of the show, but still where it all led to was very entertaining. So you have that going on. You have everything with like Will and Mike, and there's like really strong emotional moments there, especially with Will, who is now gay or whatever. He has a really good emotional moments in these last two episodes. When he talks to Mike and let him know that he's like the heart and everything. Very cliche. Again, there are some cliche, very like in your face sort of moments that it's just sort of like corny. I guess a little bit corny. Like when he's like, "You're the heart of this. You're the heart," and then when Elle's stuck in the upside down, and you hear Mike yelling, saying that I love you, I love you. Like it was nice, but it's also very, like I said, cliche. But that being said, even though I did recognize the cliche aspects, it didn't bother me. It really didn't. I think it's just because I do love this show. I think it's in my top 5 for me personally. I watched the first season when it first came out. I was 17 years old. Now I'm 23. I'm still watching. I'm going to be 25 when the show ends. So it's a pretty big portion of my young adult life that I'm watching this show. And so I've grown with these characters. So, all that reunion stuff at the end, like, it does hit the heart a little bit more. When a character you think might die, or, when Steve has those quiet moments with Nancy driving in the car, and he's talking about his life and his future and how Nancy's in his dreams and all that stuff, that's stuff that's been building up ever since, season 1, season 2. And so, even when he's talking like that and you think, like, Steve might die, like, it does pull on the heartstrings. It does create, like, a better feel for the episode, even those quiet moments. So I like the first episode too, where we have all these conversations between Eddie and Dusty and Steve and Nancy and who else was there? Like Will and Mike and Jonathan talking to his brother at the very end of the last episode. Like it was emotional for me, and it worked. It all worked for me, and it all played into why I like these episodes a lot. I also loved everything with Eleven and her testing subject stuff with Papa. I thought that was all pretty thrilling. How he put the thing on her. 11 wants to get out to go with her friends, and we don't know if she's ready or not. I enjoyed all that, and then all this epic stuff at the end when she takes down the helicopter, and she's finally using her powers in like full force. Papa gets shot, and I actually loved Papa's death because the show made it seem like he was going to get like some sort of redemption in terms of when he's dying on his last breath, and he says, "11, I just want you to say that you understand what I did for you. I want you to understand." And she doesn't give him that. Like he is a bad man. Like what he did was bad and it wasn't right. And she recognizes that, and she just says goodbye, Papa, and lets him like just suffer and die, which is what I wanted too. I was like, I don't think they're gonna give him a redemption here. I don't think 11 is just gonna say, "I understand, Papa." Like that's not gonna happen. And I thought it was such a great ending for the Papa character and for the whole arc between Papa and 11. I thought it really was a perfect ending for those characters. From there, be the reunion of Will and Mike, and they're all hugging 11. I thought that was all really cute and nice. And so the first episode, I really, really, really did love. Now for the second episode, I loved it even more. And this is when I say that like this is unprecedented, because the way I rate TV shows is very different from the way I rate movies. And I think that's how it should be, because usually for a TV show, it's very short runtime. Episodes could be 30 minutes, could be 20 minutes, it could be an hour. You need to go a little bit faster in terms of like what like a perfect episode looks like for that show. In terms of a movie, it could be a very general sense of how you rate movies, and maybe in terms of the certain genre, you rate it a different way depending on what you're looking for. So now when you have a TV episode now that is the same runtime as a movie, it sort of gets complicated, like how I'm actually going to go about rating this and looking at it. So I rated this more of like a movie, and it still sort of like broke my scale because I was also looking at it as like a Stranger Things episode, and I think this just had so much good stuff. I don't know if there's talks about like quality over quantity, because in a 2 hour and 20 runtime episode, there could be lots of talks about there's just so much stuff that they could have cut out from this episode. I don't know if people are saying that or not, but I feel like everything actually worked for this episode. There wasn't too much until that very end stuff with the reunion that I think dragged on for a little bit. Everything else I thought was epic, sort of filled with emotions, very nostalgic elements. I loved how they played into that Running Up That Hill song that's so famous now. I don't know if they knew like how big that song was going to get when they first used it in the Dear Billy episode. The fact that it's used now, it just plays into that like phenomenon feel that Stranger Things sort of has on pop culture right now. Because I know like when that song hit, like I got super hyped. I don't know if you did either. So yeah, I mean, like I can talk about everything that I loved about this episode, but I think it's all self-explanatory. Everything with Max, how she's the one that is putting herself out there to be the bait, for this trap that's going to be set. Lucas's emotions with her, and even their quiet moments of their talking, and they want to set up a date and get back together and all this stuff. That was great. And then when you have like that bully coming in with a gun, pointing a gun at Lucas, them fighting, you have that going on. You have Steve and Nancy and Robin going after Vecna. It all makes sense. And that's another beautiful thing about this season, is that it really opened up my eyes, at least, into how smart these writers were. Obviously, they've made some mistakes. I'm not saying they're perfect. But in general, I love that how they knew where the story was going ever since when they first made it. Like they've had a plan from season 1 to season 5, and not many shows have that. You look at The Walking Dead, you look at some of the greatest shows of all time, like Game of Thrones, and they didn't even have a plan of where they wanted to end it. And that's where you can sort of what's the word I'm looking for? That's how you can sort of pinpoint the good writers from like the bad writers. When you look at Breaking Bad, like they knew where they were going to end it. They didn't want to drag it out too much. They wanted to tell their story, and that's how it's going to go. And Stranger Things sort of has that same sort of thing. The next season's going to be last season. They're not going to milk it. There will be a spinoff, but none of the main characters will be involved, and that'll be it. We'll get a nice coherent storyline that people can rewatch and remember forever, and new generations will watch it. That was another thing I was talking about with my siblings who also watched it, is that the next generation, I think, is going to absolutely love Stranger Things. These actors are going to get huge. Millie Bobby Brown, Maya Hawke, Sadie Sink, maybe all of them. They're just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger in terms of like their persona and how much people love them. And I think it's just Stranger Things is going to grow with that. you know. And so when we look back and we're like, wow, look at all these amazing actors in the show, look at all this, the great writing, the storyline. I really do think Stranger Things is something that is super special for our generation. And it's just awesome. Like, it's just so cool. Like the sci-fi elements, like the 80s feel. You know, again, talking about this last episode, dude, Eddie's sacrifice. You know, they make fan favorite characters in just a couple episodes, you know. So I think that's just impressive. And so I guess for my rating that I want to give for this, the whole season, I guess in general, is a 4.8 out of 5. Because now I just want to talk about how it's hard to give 5 out of 5 seasons. You know, in terms of me, I think I've over 100, close to 200 5 out of 5 movies. I don't have that many 5 out of 5 seasons. You know, when you look back, you know, I give 5 out of 5 seasons to like Breaking Bad, Sopranos, Game of Thrones, maybe The Wire's in there, Rick and Morty, a couple other shows. There's maybe like less than 20, maybe less than 15 5 out of 5 seasons that I have that I've given out. I'm not saying I've watched every season of every show, but I'm just saying from someone who has seen a good amount of shows, there isn't that many 5 out of 5 seasons. So when a show like Stranger Things, who I think is a pretty, I mean, it's a top tier show in my opinion, when they give me a season that is maybe almost as good as the first season, which was super hard because it was so new and fresh and creative, I commend the heck out of that. And this was just like an epic conclusion or semi-conclusion to the whole show. It really felt like a Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers sort of finale at the very end. It was like, holy shit, these people have lost. It was a very nice finale, but you know, like, Return of the King is coming. You know that, like, the epic feel it movie or series is coming. And it's funny that I say that because even today I just saw that. I think the writers even said that the last season is going to have a Return of the King type of feel to it. And that was funny because I just thought of it yesterday, that this felt like a very Two Towers sort of ending. And it's just like epic. That last shot of seeing all of them looking at the Upside Down, starting to come into the real world, all the characters reunited. It's like we're together now and we're going to face like the final battle soon. And so yeah, I mean, just trying to think. I guess now talking about the whole season in general, I did a Volume 1 review where I just talked about how the season was very different. It's a lot scarier, a lot gorier. The Vecna villain is so good. It's fresh. It's crazy with the twist, how it was Henry, how it was number 1, how it's Vecna, how it's all connected, how he's been around this whole time, how he's like been possessing Billy in season 3, and how he's been planning this whole thing. It's really smart. It's really creative, like I said. Another commending thing about the show is how they're able to balance all these characters. You have so many beloved characters. People are debating that you should have killed off a couple more of them, right? And I think they will. I'm happy that they don't, you know, because I think even people would say that killing off certain characters would be predictable as well. Like if Steve died, people would get mad, right? Which I know this is another quarrel with Stranger Things writers people have, is that they should tell the story they want to tell it and not let the fans sort of get in the way, because some people think that they did that with Barb and maybe now it's Steve. And I just think I don't think they listen to the fans too much. They probably do with the whole Barb thing in season 2. But I think just what this season was, it just felt like their story and what they wanted to tell from the beginning. That's what I felt about it, at least. I loved how they made Max such a big character this season. She really came into her own. Now a fan favorite, maybe my favorite character out of the whole show right now. 11 was not put on the back burner. In the first couple episodes, I didn't really like what they were doing with her in terms of like her being in a new place, her being bullied, not having her powers yet. But then everything with the Papa thing, her growing, then where she is now, I really loved. Will and Mike were sort of on the back burner as well in the first volume. Volume 2, they got a lot of screen time. You know, they're at the heart of the franchise or whatever. Love the relationship between Jonathan and Will and all that. It was just really nice. And I think I have a connection with these characters to where any sort of emotional moments will resonate with me. So everything with Max and Lucas and 11 and Papa and all this stuff, it really hits hard for me. I would say, yeah, you just on the character thing again, you have Steve getting good screen time, Nancy, Robin, her whole arc with like her lesbian lover, Dusty and Eddie, and even Dusty at the very end going to Eddie's father and telling him that he was a hero, like he wasn't just like this murderer, like this bad guy, like, you know, he was actually a good guy and I wish everyone knew him. Like it's all really, really, really good for television. Even, I mean, for movie feel too, but television wise, like you have to really soak this in because there isn't much like this out there. I watch all these TV shows that are just subpar sometimes, and it's like some of them are garbage, some of them are good or great, but like how many of them are actually like give you something that the Stranger Things does? Not many. So when I just don't want to let this season pass by and think like, oh yeah, it was a great season. Let's just move on to the next thing I'm gonna watch. It's like, no, like let's actually like feel this season. Like let's actually appreciate it for what it is and give it the proper rating. So that's why I do want to give it like I'm gonna bump it up to like a 5 out of 5 in terms of like my Letterboxd rating or like my whatever I rate my TV time apps on. But like a 4.8 I think is pretty fair because there were some problems. I would say in the beginning episodes were great. Dear Billy was my favorite in Volume 1. That was epic, awesome feel to it. And Volume 2 just felt like an epic conclusion to everything. So those are just my quick thoughts or semi-quick thoughts on Stranger Things Volume 1 and 2 and the season in general. Really appreciate it, really loved it. And if you guys felt the same way, comment down below. If you didn't, let me know down below what you guys didn't like, what did you like, and that's pretty much it. So if you guys are new here, please subscribe, please like the video, and I will see you on the next video. Have a great rest of the day.